Is aware. Perfect. So welcome to the premier webinar for the Management Consultants Consortium of North America. I'm very honored to be able to deliver the first webinar, the first of many. We have many exciting speakers lined up for the coming months. So we want you to make this a priority. And I want to thank you for your time and energy. Many of you, if you're on the East Coast, this is probably your lunch break and you're jumping in, joining. If you're on the West Coast, it might be 9 in the morning. If you're in North America, and if you're overseas, um, yeah, who knows where. So if you would like, definitely put out in the chat where you're from, where you're hailing from, and hopefully this will be valuable. My name is Wes Patterson. I'm here in Canada, so the webinar is going to have the Canadian context, but the value that you're going to receive here is going to be invaluable. So thank you for taking the time to join us. So I'm just going to bring up my PowerPoint here. Actually, 1 second. There we go. Perfect. We'll just start the slideshow from the start. So the talk today is on leveraging government grants to drive business growth. My name is Wesley Patterson. And just to start, what is the Management Consultant
In a
Consortium?
world where business crises can strike at any moment,
We have a pre-breakdown alert.
We have a stock out on our engine display.
That will completely collapse the business.
I know exactly where this is at. We've got 30 minutes.
only those that can see the future can prevent disaster.
That will completely collapse the business.
No, we're here to help.
With the foresight to see potential pitfalls before they arise, our consultants will guide you to a successful future, preventing business breakdowns before they happen.
So, preventing business breakdowns before they happen. So, the Management Consultant Consortium is a consortium of experts, of consultants, of professionals with many different skill sets, and we come together to help businesses move forward. Myself, my name is Wesley Patterson. I'm a certified management consultant, president of Patterson Consulting. I also sit on the board for CMC Alberta, ICMCA, and on the PRDC committee. I have about over 2 decades of experience providing consultation and education. And when I was thinking about this, I've pretty much in some way, shape, or form been providing education since I was 16 years old. And back then, I was working as a lifeguard and I was teaching water safety courses. Then I started teaching advanced courses and I started traveling all around southern Alberta, which is where I'm based, and doing advanced courses, examiners, whatever. So, being at this for a while, ran many government programs on the municipal, provincial, and federal level to help build workforce development, work skill development for individuals in a variety of industries, and being also working in academia, corporate training, building corporate training portfolio, and delivering ongoing resources. So a wealth of knowledge, and I'm going to distill a little tiny bit. Hopefully some seeds land. But again, we're going to move very fast through this webinar, so there's going to be a lot of information to share. One interesting thing is that I actually won National Champion of Canada for CMC Canada for 2024 for a consulting project. And I'll chat a little bit about that in today's webinar. I'm a husband, father, business owner, volunteer, ninja. I threw ninja there because I'm trained in Budo Taijutsu. I have a rank of Yondan, which in English we would refer as fourth degree black belt. And that stems from 6 samurai houses and 3 ninja houses. So the Bujikon is a combination, an amalgamation of those 9 houses in about 1400 years of distilled knowledge in the combative arena. So I often get asked, what is a certified management consultant? And we're all a bit unique, but we all have a common code of professional ethics. We have a common body of knowledge that we adhere to, much in the same way that a project management professional does. For myself, I like to think of these three characters and how I approach consulting. The first on the left, Sherlock Holmes. He was essentially the first consulting detective. He went to the crime scene and then he looked at the evidence, aka the data, and what was the data provided me. And from there, he was able to solve the crime. Dr. Stephen Strange, the Marvel character, he was a successful Western doctor, top in his profession, but then he bumped up with a problem that he couldn't solve. And it required him to open his mind, start searching beyond his traditional knowledge path and dabble into the esoteric and the mystical arts. So being open-minded. And Bruce Lee was a master at connecting the systems, utilizing different tools. He took aspects from all of the traditional martial arts at his time, created his own custom martial art, which he coined Jeet Kune Do, and essentially, we could call him the first ever mixed martial artist because he started using his art, bringing his unique flavor to that, and beating all the other contemporary martial artists at the time he was on the planet. So I'm going to throw this question out to all of you attending this seminar. Are you extremely busy working in or on your business? And it's something for you just to think about. And when we look at the spectrum of knowledge in the universe, we can see that light blue section, that's what we know. That's what we know. And then that slightly bigger section is the things that we know we don't know. So there's things we know, and then there's things we know that we don't know. But biggest of all, the biggest slice of the pie are the things that we don't know, we don't know. So the things we don't know, we don't know. And that accounts for the biggest section of the pie. And so as you go through today, my thought is you're going to start to think and put some connections to things that you didn't know you didn't know. And hopefully you can start to see how you could start applying that to the business. I'm also going to provide at the end my contact information. So I encourage you, if you have any questions, message me on LinkedIn, reach out. We're going to provide links to videos. If you like that, I encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And definitely, if you haven't already, subscribe to the Management Consultants Consortium of North America. And maybe you're interested in becoming a member, you definitely want to check that out as well. So when I start talking about government programs, often people are like, how come I haven't heard about this government program from before? And one of the things, the quotes that I love is this one from Ronald Reagan. The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. So often people from the government, when they start talking about their government programs, well, sometimes we have people and they're very closed off. The arms start crossing. Sometimes it's like earmuffs. They're not paying attention. But more than that, I find that the government isn't very good at selling or transferring this knowledge to industry about the programs that do exist very well. And part of that is that you might have one person assigned to this in government that handles a giant territory, and there's maybe not certain incentive to give out money. Again, different governments operate different ways. So there's ways to kind of look at programs. And all the programs that I'm going to show today are very beneficial government programs because they're going to start to build industry. They're going to build communities. They're going to build businesses. And the goal of this investment is that these dollars provided by the government will come back in spades as industry grows. That's going to increase tax revenue. That's going to increase jobs. So that's the aspect we're looking at in terms of great government programs. So are you innovative? If so, if you're innovative and your business here is in Canada, your private business, you have between 1 to 499 programs, you might want to consider the CMC Management Advisory Services Program, often referred to as the MAS program. So different industries. So this is an aspect of different industries that the program works with. So it works with industries in environmental, construction, professional services, agriculture, information technology, information and cultural, manufacturing, and then other industries, AI, automation, healthcare, you name it. There's a diverse amount of industries that we're working with through the MAS program. Services requested quite often. These are around, the majority is around business planning. Another large section is market research. Marketing and sales is another huge one. Finance and also growth management. Again, this is very diverse, and these projects are custom tailored specific for your needs. They're very short projects if you're approved for this. The total hours of access to the consultant or consulting services is 40 hours. So typically, most of these projects are completed within a 2-month turnaround. I'm going to share a case study of a very successful project. And actually, we've run a few different projects now at this point. But this is a picture from the first project that we ran with a clean tech company based here in Calgary, Alberta, called OxyTech. So there's a couple pictures there. There's us meeting at a big Inventors conference, which is a conference that takes place in May here in Alberta and Calgary that really inspires and drives innovation and technology. Then the second picture there is where I brought together a business owner in the industry, and we're doing a tour of the lab ideation of the work that OxyTech was doing in the lab at the University of Calgary. Now, they were just doing very small scale work when I first started with this company. But what happened was we did small scale, and ultimately this led to a first commercial pilotization through that connection with business to academia and a new tech startup. So one of the things that I had the opportunity to do a few years back was to speak at CMC Canada's 20th anniversary of the MAS program and just share some of the insights for other consultants on how they could successfully run a CMC MAS project. So then we did another project, and from this, we started building out different marketing tools. We started building out customers. They revamped the website, and then we utilized some other government programs to help. So essentially, this solution is quite amazing. You can take low-grade coal, you can take petroleum products, agricultural waste, bio feedstocks, and through a chemical proprietary process, they can create this high value green fertilizer that's great for the planet. We did third-party tests at Olds College, and on all the crops tested during this test, we've since done subsequent tests on canola, wheat, and barley, hands down. This product, the Soil Fuel Plus, their flagship product, was performing better than the top fertilizers on the market in these third-party tests. And so that was very promising. And then we knew we were really on to something special. Here's some pics. I like to test things out. We can see an example of a lawn before and after. Here is the dirt, and here is the green grass. So we're seeing the difference there. We can also see differences in wheat. So wheat, we can kind of look at the shoots and um, we can see the length of the shoot. So I just saw a message come in on to expand on that acronym. So MAS, so if I keep saying MAS, Management Advisory Services Program. And I'll speak a little bit more to that as we move forward. If we look at that bottom picture, that's actually my lawn. So I was working with these guys. I'm like, I want to field test this on my lawn, and my neighbors are green thumbs. And so if you look at that bottom picture, you can literally see a line. And I think they thought I was crazy because when you spray this, when I mixed it with the water, it almost looks like you're spraying oil because it comes out a dark brownish color on the grass, but it restored our lawn. We used to have a few bare patches. It's taken that out. It works great if you have a dog to, and the dog's peeing all around and that starts killing the lawn. So it's really good at changing and terraforming the land to improve growth. And with this question, we're starting to ask, well, what if we started growing food on places of the planet where we've never grown food before?
And this is the thing that we learned, that if I need to take things from the lab to the field before I have my early celebration of the success story, I should test it, with the people like Wiz who can connect me in taking things to a higher scale. My name is Nashat Nassar, full professor in the Department of Chemical and Petroleum Engineering. I am a co-founder with my partner, Dr. Abdullah Manasra of Carbon OxyTech, which is originated from my lab. Carbon OxyTech is a company that focuses on turning hydrocarbon waste into a value-added product. So we're converting all those waste into a green fertilizer that can replace the chemical-based fertilizers. Our dream here is Carbon OxyTech become, a big international company worldwide because the world is moving toward green products. Taking things from academia to industrial level is a challenge for us. And this is where I see the value in Wiz. Wiz, he was like the linkage between academia and industry. And he took this, challenge and he absorbed the thing that we face when we take things from lab to a bigger scale. Being nominated for the National Champion Award, whether it's being at the national level or at the international level, is a great achievement for Peterson and Carbon OxyTech because it shows that we are moving in the right path. I believe Wiz has the full package when it comes to taking things from the lab scale to a big scale. He is connecting us to the right people. For our case, our right people in here is the consumer of our products, which is the farmers.
And this is one of the big challenges that I find many companies, especially startups, have, is they have a product, but have they tested that that's viable in the marketplace? So often when I'm working with tech companies, innovative companies, we really want to look at that. And is there a customer? Is there a need? Is there a demand? Because sometimes maybe we just have to do a slight shift or a tweak, and now there's a need. Or maybe we have to run some beta tests on, do we have the right target market? So those are all things that can be done in an MAS or in multiple MAS projects. So this slide just kind of shows an example of a few of the companies that I've helped support in MAS projects, in healthcare, in augmentation, so augmented reality. So think of XR, AR, VR, virtual reality, simulation, things with digitizing areas, digitizing networks. Other things that I've worked with are in nanotechnology and delivery. So these are all areas of work that we have done through MAS programs, Management Advisory Services programs. I'm going to throw an example of one tool that I find quite valuable because I know there's a few consultants on the webinar today, and this tool is called the OR. So Outcome, Agenda, Roles, and Rules. And it's a framework for structuring meetings. And if you start to utilize this single tool will save you hundreds of hours of time and frustration. So outcome, what's the desired result of this meeting? Agenda, what's our roadmap? Roles, who are the stakeholders? Norms of behavior to ensure effectiveness and efficiency. And one of the things that I've also found quite valuable is starting an MAS project or any project, consulting project, in adherence to ISO 2700. And that's an international standard for management consulting. So you might be asking, okay, I'm a Canadian business. I have 1 to 499 employees in my company. We have some innovative concepts or ideas or things we're just trying to get out the gate. How do we get started? Well, one way is you can message me direct and I'll provide that information. I can actually send you a menu that will give you details on examples of what an MAS project could look like. And you might look at the menu and think, well, there could be 2 or 3. Companies are allowed to do one MAS project per calendar year. Again, this is you have to get partnered to start with an ITA, and an ITA is referred to as an industry technology advisor. So once you get started, you call the toll free, or I connect you and you connect with them via email. Then you get into that cycle and you want to mention that you're interested in the Management Advisory Services program. Also mention that you would love to work with Wesley Patterson, Certified Management Consultant. They'll then send you an application to complete. The application is now online, and depending where you get in, you're going to be in the queue. Now is the perfect time if you're interested and you're in Canada to start looking at this. And I would recommend applying sooner than later. We're right now in Q4, the fourth quarter of the government fiscal. And so the next program is going to open Q1. So that's going to be April 1st. So you want to get on there because sometimes this can become a first time, first serve. So you want to get your application in early right now. I know there was a bit of a waiting list, and if there's enough interest, then what they're going to look at is, hey, we're having a lot of businesses interested in this program. Maybe we need to expand the number of seats that we're going to offer because there's a lot of innovative companies want to utilize the Management Advisory Services program. Scale and grow your company, make tons of cash. You might also have a private company. It's growing. You're in growth mode. You're starting to grow. And now you're looking at how do we capitalize on this growth? We need different people involved than when it was a startup. We need different resources, and you might be considering taking your company public. So I have a few questions. Do you want to go public in the next 6 to 12 months? Do you currently have over 1 million in annual revenue? Do you want to scale fast? Do you want to retain more ownership? And this is an important one because often founders, when they go the VC route, they're lucky if they come out at the end with 50% ownership of their company. Sometimes it's more like 15. Do you want to reduce the cost of going public? And are you curious to learn more about this growth hack? Now, this is a little bit more complex and gives a little bit more thought. So if you are interested in taking your company public, definitely connect with me. So message me on LinkedIn. I'll provide my email and a QR code to visit my website at the end and all that information. So connect with me. We can have a quick chat, run through. And if you're interested in the next steps, I'm working with partners that have decades of experience on Wall Street and Bay Street. So they're able to bring those skill sets and help you bring your company public fast. Meanwhile, leveraging that, and that can really open up the opportunity to leverage and tap into capital because now you're in the public market. If you're located in the Edmonton, Alberta region, you might want to take note of this program. So there's a great program called Experts on Demand. I know they're going to be bringing out another incubator program, but this program is phenomenal. They take priority usually first with companies in and around the Edmonton region, but they have also taken other companies throughout the province of Alberta, Canada. So why might you want to look at this program? Well, this is for growth stage companies. You're matched with experts. So it could be one or multiple experts. You're provided up to 100 hours of one-to-one support, mentorship on industry-specific business or operational topics. Okay, so again, similar to MAS, a little bit different structure with experts on demand. Experts on demand sometimes can be stretched out for longer periods of time, and it can be compressed into, very narrow windows, depending on the company and depending on what that project and support looks like. One of the companies that I've worked with this program, Business Wide View, essentially what they've done is they've created an online platform connecting farmers and ranchers. And through our work together, it was really cool because, again, one of the founders won the 2024 Women in Ag Award for Innovation. So this is really cool. I got to appear on one of their podcasts, chatting about all things resource to help support those in the agricultural community. So it was a lot of fun, and I'm excited to see where this company goes in the next few years. They have multiple ag operations. They're going to be running the first ever female ranch camp here in Canada. So that's really exciting. That's going to come out later in the spring. They have ranching operations and they have farming operations too. So they've really diversified their business operations in a very unique way. Maybe you need support. Maybe you need extra hands on deck. Wes, I need some additional people to do this admin work, to do this light touch work, the stuff that just consumes my time. Well, you're not alone on this. And what you might want to do is you might want to consider leveraging post-secondary student talent. Okay, so these young, eager professionals are currently in school. They're learning the latest concepts and things like technology and AI, and you might want to hire an intern. Potentially, you could get up to 80% of that wage covered, up to $7,000 here throughout Canada through their intern program. They also, if you're kind of nervous, well, I'm kind of nervous about hiring an intern. One way to field test whether a student's going to make or be a good intern is to sign up for the VFC Entrepreneurship Program. So this allows you between 2 to 5 students to bring into your company. They're given up to 60 hours per student to work, to perform a project that you submit to VFC, and 100% of that student wage is subsidized through the VFC program. So it's a great way to get exposure to 2 to 5 post-secondary students that are at a Canadian university or college across Canada. And then if you like that student, you might say, hey, I'm going to bring this individual on as an intern. And maybe eventually that's going to be a new employee. So a great program to get students that practical real world experience, but also to field test new talent without jumping into the hire and all that cost of onboarding at the offset. Another great program, actually, these are programs throughout Canada, are the Canada Job Grant programs. So we can see there's a program in Saskatchewan, there's a program in Alberta, there's a program in BC, Ontario, in the Atlantic. So there's multiple, depending on the region of the country you're in, there's the Canada Alberta Job Grant Program. I'm going to speak specific to the program because I'm based in Alberta, to the Canada Alberta Job Grant Program. So again, each province is going to have their program structured a little bit differently, but essentially with the Can Alberta Job Grant program, you can train three for the price of one. So you could train three existing eligible employees working for your organization for the price of one, because you could get up to two-thirds of that workforce development, training and development back from the government. If they're eligible new hires, you might even be qualify for up to 100% tuition reimbursement. And smaller companies, companies four or less, often companies that are maybe in the trades, you're a solopreneur, the employers could also be eligible for a two-third reimbursement. So this is an excellent program to expand skill sets in areas. Now, Harvard Business Review put out a report at one point in time. They called it the Great Training Robbery. So there's differences between mediocre training and exceptional world-class training. And we want to make sure that when we're looking at investing our dollars in training our workforce, that we're training the right way and we're training the right method. Now, currently, this program is on pause, but it's going to open back up after April 1st. So definitely visit the website, keep on there, because this is going to be a huge resource to help you start to train staff forward fast. I'm going to talk a little bit about a case study, and this case study is with JBS Canada. So this was work that I did through work I was doing at Medicine Hat College, where we started off with one pilot test in the area of leadership, and from the success of that original pilot, it transformed into 12 days of training over a 9-month period in leadership development, where they would come to a training session and then they would go and apply what they had learned at the plant facility. So they did one stream with leadership. As that started running, we also recognized the value as we're building up and we're developing the people. We also have to be looking at developing the processes and giving them the tools so that we can increase the number of eyes and tap into what's typically the biggest waste of all, which is underutilized human talent and underutilized human capital. So we really want to transform and tap into that human potential. And when people start thriving within their workforce, they feel better about their jobs. So we got to do all kinds of fun things. Here's a picture where we brought in, for one aspect of the training, we brought in a group called Mobile Escape. So they brought a simulation out to site where they went through different escape rooms. So different people would go into that and they learned some very important lessons. We tapped into areas of psychological capital, emotional intelligence. We looked at areas of conflict resolution, providing them the ability to get into their own unique, authentic leadership. So they're leading based on their skill sets. We also looked at aspects of team development. The Lencioni model, 5 dysfunctions of the team, is excellent on this. And if you don't have a foundation of trust, the whole house of cards is going to fall down. And we did scenario-based case studies with actual examples throughout this training. What was the result of this learning through practice and role play? Well, after running this program for, I think it was the midway through the second year, the Brooks facility became the top facility worldwide in all major KPIs. So they started outperforming all the other plants around the planet. They started flying in the GMs from all the different planets, or not planets, the different plants, to observe what was going on and why Canada was just moving at such a faster rate and having far more successes than these other plants, these other facilities. So it really was very inspiring going through that. At one point, the CEO joined in one of the games. I kind of threw him a little bit on the spot, but he shared some real heartfelt, authentic emotions on his struggles because maybe he's winning as CEO, but this home life area, there's a bit of work. So these tools are things that your employees will learn. It's going to build them up as people, not only as workers, not only as tradespeople or business professionals, but they're going to be able to take these same skill sets to their home, to their community. It's going to improve relationships. It's going to improve all kinds of things, friendships. So a lot of value comes out because, again, we don't know what we don't know. And then when we now have new tools, we can perform better.
One of the most common challenges that I see businesses facing today is around the area of wellness. There's tremendous amount of burnout in business today. This causes increase in accidents, this causes increase in sick leave. Ultimately, that has tremendous costs on the bottom line. My name is Wes Patterson. I'm a certified management consultant and the president of Patterson Consulting. When we increase the health and wellness of individuals, they enjoy their jobs more. Job satisfaction increases. They feel valued. They perform better. They become more efficient, and they begin to take ownership in the roles that they play within the organization. So our expertise in health and wellness, we find translates into tangible benefits for businesses. Some of the core services that we offer are in the areas of corporate training, organizational development, business coaching, and trusted advisor services. One of the great things about being selected for the Constantinus Award was the opportunity to travel to Yerevan in Armenia. While I was there, I had the opportunity to sit on an international panel to discuss the topic of transforming industry with AI. I was able to also deliver a masterclass on productivity and performance hacks. Then when we attended the final gala, we won the National Champion of Canada for our consulting project, and we are also deemed top 6 in the world on an international scale. Business owners are extremely busy working in their business. They don't spend time working on their business. I'm able to help guide them on the why they got into business for themselves in the first place. And when we start to bring that together, great things happen.
So example of a couple of the courses that we offer businesses is we have a 2-day essential communication and conflict management course. Again, we have compiled in this 2-day course some of those best practices that we learned working with the JBS Corporation. And it was a unique petri dish because we had over 170 countries represented across the world. We had varying levels of educational background. There were people there with PhDs, and there were people there with grade 3 education. We also had a number of individuals where English was a second language. And so again, communication faces a lot of challenges and unique challenges in an environment like this. And we were able to produce some outstanding success. So again, this 2-day course is a great sample course to start to distill these tools very quick and very fast, and then start delivering them within your organization. And usually within the first week, we start to see people playing around using some of the techniques. Again, some techniques are going to land for certain people, different techniques are going to land for others, but we start to see change because the employees and the workers are the ones who choose to change. Again, a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. So we can't force people to change. We want to inspire them to change. Another, my flagship program, this one is amazing, enhancing your organizational culture. So this is a great one. I've done this for HR professionals, for senior leadership, for a variety, people in government, people in industry. It works all around. So there's tons of tools here. We go through Again, some strategic planning elements. So you can actually take some of the strategic planning and start running this with your own teams. Often businesses will also find that they'll discover during this 3-day program, hey, here's some other areas where we need support in training development. Here's some other areas where we need support in getting an assessment, getting a profile of our business. We're lacking data here. How can we improve that? So a lot of that comes out. Master model, or I call this a meta model. This is a model where we can pull in all different areas. We look at foundational elements. We look at what are the current inputs, what are the current outputs, and what are we doing? And again, we can create these models for the individual. We can create these models for the organization, and then we can see if they match. Are these individual values matching the organizational values? If not, that could present a problem. And if what we're doing, we can also run mini tests, micro tests, and scenarios where is this change, is this new process, is this going to cause us to spiral downward, or is this going to uplift the organization? So a great tool. I use this in all kinds of ways, and we delve into a lot in that 3-day program. Other areas to look at, PDCA, Plan, Do, Check, Act. I'm sure this is familiar for many of you on the call. Plan, Do, Check, Act, Plan, Do, Check, Act. As we're moving up the ramp, now we found what works. Now we need to standardize that so it becomes consistent. Again, different areas we can look at: lean training, yellow belt, green belt, org excellence, leadership development, Kaizen events, theory constraint, project management, and quality management. So there's an endless scope of training, and working with a consultant is to determine what's the best training for you right now, and what should we tackle first? What's the most critical thing we have to look at in this moment in terms of training and development and professional development? So again, just to kind of tap on a few other courses, I'm not going to go too much into this. Ellie Latak, Master Black Belt, he's going to be speaking next month. So I encourage you to jump in on the webinar where he talks about all things OEE. So again, he delivers a lot of this training in lean, yellow belt, green belt, and then also doing Kaizen events and having Kaizen workshops. So the big thing on train development, you want to make sure it's specific for your needs, for your individual needs, for your organizational needs, and make sure that those mesh. Going to jump over and shift to automation. Why should we start looking at automation, and what government programs are available if we're looking at automation? And unless you've been under a rock, you've probably been hearing for the last couple of years, everything AI. It's starting to build now where it's coming. It's been around longer for that, but it's really moving into the mainstream faster more than ever. Common things people are speaking about are ChatGPT and other popular AIs like Gemini and Grok. So again, it can be overwhelming, but let's look at the principle of why we should actually first start looking at automation. Well, from the Canadian perspective, on a global scale, we're not doing too well. We've kind of been hedging a lower dollar value, but now we're facing some very, very concerning things. So potential tariffs of 25% or more coming from the US, carbon tax increase of 20% come April 1st. Where is Parliament? It's kind of like the where is Waldo, where is Parliament right now? And this is creating tremendous uncertainty and stress. So let's look at this picture. These guys don't look too stressed. They look quite happy. And there's Mr. Happy Evacon. So this is an example of how we can start bringing technology and training and actually implementing that to train staff ongoing. So Mr. Evacon, when he's happy, he has the smiley face. But when the factory isn't performing too well, you can see in the picture on the right, he has that frown face. So when we're utilizing this tool, this Evacon tool, and I love Mr. Evacon, it just makes it so simple. No matter what language the person's speaking, universal, we understand what a smile means. We understand what a neutral expression means. We understand what a frown means. And as simple as this seems, workers and people, they want to be doing a good job. So we want to be doing a good job. So on the line, the machine, whatever that is in our role that we're running, we want to get Mr. Evacon smiling. So this is a great way to increase our OEE. Again, I'm not going to dive into this, but they have a great case study of the success that they did with Coca-Cola and their bottling plants. And so, again, I can send you this case study. Just connect with me. Again, message me on LinkedIn. Say specifically the information that you're wanting. And you might even want to set up a quick 15, 20-minute Zoom call with me, and then we can start to dive in to maybe areas that we should start working with your business first. Did you know that improving OEE 20% within your factory or your company could result in a 60% increase in profit? If you're a production worker, this might be something that you want to share with that VP of finance. Okay, now you're speaking the same language, you're speaking the dollars and cents, and the need for starting to look at automation on the factory floor. And again, things like Evacon, that's going to provide that real-time data. I'm not going to jump too much into it because I know Ellie is going to share everything OEE when he talks next month in March. So make sure you check out that webinar. Here's an example of a program that you could use right now. So if you're here in Alberta, the Emissions Reduction Alberta has the Strategic Energy Management Program for industry. You could receive up to $50,000 for an energy assessment. Again, operations assessment, audit. You could get up to $250,000 for energy management information. One of the neat things with the Evacon tech is the sensors can detect heat loss. So you can start to identify those areas where you might be losing heat in the building. OEE, you want to be running your equipment efficiently. And when you're doing that, you're going to reduce energy usage on equipment. You could also get up to $100,000 for strategic energy management training, and that could have multiple forms, and up to 1 million in capital retrofit. So again, this is just an example of already Evacon sells itself. It's got a return on investments can happen just on increasing the OE, but you might also be able to add in a government program to further benefit your organization. Other things, and this goes across multiple industries. We see this in factories, we see this in oil and gas, we see this in production facilities, water treatment, but we have maintenance staff, we have technical staff, and often we face these knowledge gaps leading to inefficiencies, long downtime, delays, and waste. This can prolong things, heavy reliance on experts, long learning curves. Again, if we can start to digitize that factory, and this solution here is a solution that Kyami has come out with, and we're very excited of this. We think that this solution could be the answer to Canada's water treatment issues. And I'm going to delve into that a little bit later, but yeah, we see lots of potential with this. So just imagine you could reduce your support calls by up to 40%. Imagine you could cut repair time and downtime by up to 70%. So that is not, fiction. That's the reality of leveraging this type of software. So why is it important? Well, it takes different time to upskill and train technicians. Okay, so we can see John, Lee, Tal, Dan, they're all performing at different levels. And everyone that's above that red line, that's increasing rework, scrap materials, quality defects. So again, how do we fast track Lee, Tal, and Dan to perform more at the level of John? Well, utilizing Kyami, what we can do is we can provide that self-service, we can reduce the calls, the support and vendor, spare parts costs, and start to use that knowledge sharing to our advantage. So now we can see rework, that decreases scrap materials, quality defects, you name it. Again, so creating the digital factory, now you can quickly diagnose, troubleshoot, do your required maintenance. And this is something that can be done in a whole host of areas. Again, I'm not going to dive too much into this. We talked about water treatment, um, desalination, plastic plants, and then again, the cost savings alone, example, this mid-sized factory, annual savings of over $1 million. So it's a no-brainer. One of the programs that we're excited about here in Alberta that municipalities might be able to start bringing in Kiami solutions is the Alberta Municipal Waste and Wastewater Partnership Studies Initiative. And again, how can we prevent water waste and improve water efficiency? So again, this is a way that we could do it with software like Kiami. Zagitas, process bots as a service, boost productivity and profitability for medium-sized enterprises. So I'm going to show the bot here, and this is an example of an invisible office worker. And while this goes, I'm just going to explain what this office worker is doing in real time. So we can see that the robot is initiating the order planning process by seamlessly logging in to the order management system, using authorized credentials, enabling it to query and plan orders effectively. Upon successful login, the robot selects the user profile required to the pending orders. Navigating the search screen, the robot employs predefined filters to retrieve all pending orders. Additionally, it can apply supplementary filters such as origin, city, or date as needed. And once the pending orders are retrieved, the robot meticulously extracts pertinent data from each, including PO number, weight, volume, package count, crucial for subsequent planning stages. Transitioning to the supplier system, the robot logs in with necessary credentials, mirroring its actions and order management to ensure seamless integration and access. With access granted, the robot navigates to search screen to locate orders using previously obtained PO numbers. Upon locating an order, the robot meticulously validates the information within the supplier system to ensure suitability for planning. This validation process includes verifying destination consistency, identifying associated orders, and obtaining carrier details, among other checks. Following validation, the robot returns to the order management system to search for associated orders, verifying their planning status, and proceeding with the planning process. Integration of carrier information obtained from the supplier system streamlines the phase, ensuring accurate order planning. Notably, the robot identifies scenarios where multiple orders necessitate consolidation into single shipment. In such cases, it meticulously selects for consolidation based on PO numbers, strategically unplans orders with lesser weights, and combines remaining orders using identifier from the heaviest shipment, thereby optimizing shipment efficiency. And there we see the robot just finishing up, doing it almost faster than I can read the script of what it is doing. So this previously would have taken a human that was very good at their job 20, 25, 30 minutes to perform. Now it's performed it in a couple minutes with zero errors. And the robot isn't taking coffee break. It's not taking sick time. So again, this is where the potential of the invisible office worker and customized AI solutions, we're going to start to see more and more of these in the near future. So some use cases, we can see increase in efficiency in multiple areas: finance, accounting, procurement, IT, operations, and even HR. So think invisible office worker. So tasks performed faster without errors. It's going to be approximately 70% of the cost of a human worker. You can start looking at OPEX versus CapEx. With Zagitas, they have a guaranteed return on investment model, which de-risks it for the company. You can run through workshops at the beginning. Companies might be like, I have no idea where to start. Well, you can run through a one-day workshop to discover where you're going to have the best use cases for an invisible office worker and where to automate. And what about the other staff? Because if they're going to be resistant to this, we can start to get them comfortable playing around with AI with things like Microsoft Copilot. So again, this is just an area where we see this is moving towards, but how can we also utilize this with less disruption and make it easier for existing human workers to work alongside with these invisible office workers as we move into Industry 5.0. Again, I can show different success stories, manufacturing. We can see here, this alone in the supply chain reduced fines and penalties by 1.2 million US in the first year. You can see on the right the different technologies used. Banking, this is being used in banking examples. This particular banking example, the robot had its payback period within 3 months. And so now it's just, increasing the return on investment and profitability of the bank ongoing from there. Another program, again, that was using no grant programs. But now with the Regional AI Initiative, eligible activities could include technology adoption, technology commercialization, and eligible costs could include the labor costs, capital, management fees, consulting fees, subcontracting, maintenance costs, specialized services, etc. So we're really excited. This is a new program just opened up last fall, the Regional Artificial Intelligence Initiative, and I'm sure a lot of companies don't have a clue this program exists. Some companies might be like, Wes, I'm just trying to move off QuickBooks and maybe get like an ERP system. Well, maybe you want to look at a tool like Liquid. Liquid is an Alberta-based company. They're starting to do just this. And have you ever thought about developing your own software? One of the nice features with Liquid is if they design a module that's unique to your business and now they can monetize that to other businesses and get them using it, you can actually start building a revenue stream back from that. So Liquid is actually going to incentivize you to work with them on this because it's going to build their value and it's going to build your value. So it's a very open thing. I love this concept, and I think a lot of tech companies could benefit from taking similar concepts. I'm racing now. I know there's a few more minutes and I know the lunch hour is ending, but again, if you missed the last little bit of this, it is going to be recorded. We're going to share this on the channel. Take a picture of this QR code right here. This is a one solution implementation that potentially could save you a lot of money doing very minimal work. Think of POS systems, think of interchange rates. So one company that we are working with is doing about 20 million in sales online annually, and we discovered the potential to save them $300,000 annually utilizing this one solution. So again, those visas, those multiple transactions, each time, if you could get a few more of those cents and dollars back over time, that could be significant. Now, maybe your company is only doing 2 million, that could be 30,000. Maybe you're doing 200 million. Maybe that now becomes 3 million. So again, it's worth looking into. The company out of the States, Daystar, and I'm sure there's others, but this one I really like. So my question to you, and I'm going to leave you with, is are you leaving money on the table? Are you leaving money on the table? Are there other things you could be doing in your business? And are there programs that you could be leveraging in your business? And maybe you're a consultant, you're also thinking, man, I could be providing information about some of these programs or the programs in my state, in my country, in my region to my clients that could better them. And 100%, absolutely you could. So I'm going to leave you with a promotion. So one of the things that we do have with Patterson Consulting MindEdge is we have an online training catalog. So again, online training is only good for certain individuals, but there's a lot of keeners I know that are watching this webinar or watched it to the end. So again, investing in yourself and the skill sets that you want, or maybe you just need certain things and you just can't make a specific course. Online training allows you to train at your own time and work at your own pace. Okay, so there's certificates, there's courses, there's bundles, there's simulations, there's all kinds of great stuff on there. We have over 28 business categories, so I encourage you to check that out. From now until the end of March, you're going to save 20% when you enter promo code Thrive 2025 exclamation mark at your online checkout. So if you take a picture of that QR code, you can screenshot that there. And again, here's my company, Patterson Consulting. Thank you for joining us for this webinar. Again, my name is Wesley Patterson. I'm a certified management consultant. You can visit and learn more about our company at pattersonconsulting.ca and send me an email, send me a direct link on LinkedIn. My email address is wes@pattersonconsulting.ca. It's the Scottish Patterson with one T, not two. So wes@pattersonconsulting.ca. Thank you for the time. Thank you for joining in, and stay tuned for next month where Ellie Latac talks about all things OEE. He's going to do a deeper dive into that, so I know you don't want to miss the next webinar. Thank you, everyone.